Good day, everyone, and we will now continue our discussion on plant form and function, particularly on plant tissues. So, for this part of our lesson, we will identify and describe now the plant tissues and then trace the fate of meristematic tissues. So, last time, we have discussed this already, and we have given you the opportunity to make use of the smartphone microscope to explore the different tissues of plants, no, particularly the meristematic tissues. We started our lecture with the plant cell because all plant tissues are made up of cells, no? And how are these plant cells similar with each other? So basically, plant cells are made up of the following, no? First, they have a central vacuole, which helps in storing fluid to keep the cell erected together with the cell wall, right? So they are only found in plants. At the same time, they are capable of photosynthesis through the organelles, which we call chloroplasts, that are rich in chlorophyll. Okay? And we also have a cell wall, no, which distinguishes plants from animals that do not have a cell wall. Okay? So here are the parts. Okay? So we can classify plant tissues as either meristematic or permanent. No? When we say meristematic tissues, these are tissues that are totipotent, which means they are capable of becoming any kind of cell. Recall the stem cell we have discussed in Gen Bio 1. Okay? And we also have permanent cells that came from meristematic cells. Usually, permanent cells or permanent tissues stay as they are, no? Until they die, okay? So it's very rare to find a permanent tissue becoming a meristematic tissue. It's always that everything will come from meristematic tissues, okay? And then we can classify permanent tissues into simple or complex, which we'll discuss later on. Okay? So meristematic tissues are made up of undifferentiated cells. When we say undifferentiated, it means they are not specialized. Okay? So they are capable of becoming anything. So being capable of differentiation means that they are totipotent. Okay? So, meristematic tissues are an actively dividing region found in your plants. Okay, they keep on producing more cells that will later differentiate to become different cells, and other cells will remain as meristematic tissues. Okay, as meristematic cells. So, again, there are two fates for the meristematic tissues. Okay, some cells will stay as meristematic cells, while other cells will become differentiated later on. Okay? So there are three types of meristems. The first one is the apical meristem. Okay? Above the above the soil, we can find the shoot apical meristem. Okay? This is found at the tip of the shoot or at the tip of the stem. Okay? So we have already found the apical meristems through your in-class laboratory experiences with the smartphone microscope, and we've explored where they are and what are the parts of the plant that would arise from the apical meristem. We also observed the root tip of allium cepa or the onion as well. So we also observed where we can locate the root apical meristem. Okay? So apical meristems are found at or near the tip of the roots and the shoot, and they increase in length as the meristem produce new cells. Basically, what the apical meristems promote is the length of the plant, okay? So it elongates because of the apical meristem. So apical meristems would instantly produce the primary tissues, okay? All primary tissues will come from the apical meristem. Lahat ng mga bagong green sa halaman manggagaling sa apical meristem. So ano-ano yung mga layers na yon? We have the protoderm sa bandang gilid, okay? Yung gilid na yan, protoderm ang lilitaw. Lahat ng yan, gilid, no? Ngayon, patungo sa loob, makikita ang ground meristem, okay? So lahat ng inner tissues ay magmumula sa ground meristem. Habang ang procambium, okay, saan ang procambium? Andito siya. Ang procambium, dyan lilitaw sa susunod ang inyong mga xylem, and phloem. Okay? While the rest of the inner tissues will become your ground meristem. Tapos yung ground meristem magiging cortex and pith. Okay, yung cortex at pith, sila yung mga inner tissues, no, ng mga halaman. Okay, mga green plants. Okay? So, this is the specimen we've observed in our in-class laboratory session. No, you've explored them under a microscope, under a smartphone microscope. And as you can see here, this is allium cepa. This is an onion, okay? So this is a young onion with its shoot, okay? Shoot system. Dito sa bandang dito, okay, sa baba, ito yung stem niya. Habang yung mga lumalawit paakyat, yan ang mga dahon nung inyong onion. Okay? So, here is your shoot apical meristem. No? Yan ang dulo ng stem ng onion. Okay? So, this one is an actively dividing region. Is it differentiated or not differentiated? Okay, since this is a meristem, they are not yet specialized. They are not differentiated. So, paano yung differentiation niya? No? Mula rito sa SAM or the shoot apical meristem, pababa. No? So, as you go down from the meristem, the cells will become more differentiated. Okay? From least specialized or least differentiated to the most differentiated regions. Okay? As you can see here, yung ibang cells magiging dahon. Ayun yung mga maliliit na bukol. Yan yung magiging dahon later on. While other cells will stay as your stem. Okay? So, yan yung nangyayari sa kanya. No? Then, if we can zoom it in, you will find the layers of the protoderm, ground meristem, and the procambium. Okay? Again, this is your SAM. This one is above the plant. So, yung differentiation ay pababa. Ano naman yung paakyat? No? Yung kanyang pagtubo. So, the production of cells are always towards the upward direction. Okay? Kung pababa ang differentiation, pataas naman ang inyong growth. Okay? Pataas ang division of cells. No? In the shoot apical meristem. Okay? How about the root apical meristem? So this one is located below the soil, of course, since this is the root. Okay? So the root will still give rise to your protoderm, ground meristem, and procambium. Okay? Your protoderm ay yung gilid. No? This one. Okay? The ground meristem is found inside and the procambium is in the middle. Okay? Your procambium, again, will give rise to your xylem and phloem. The ground meristem will give rise to the pith. Okay? Or sorry, to the cortex rather. To the cortex. No, this is just a layer of inner tissues lang. No? And then the protoderm will give rise to the epidermis. Okay? So again, these three are the primary meristems that would come from the root apical meristem. If it's in the shoot, then it would come from the shoot apical meristem. Okay? Now, so ano na ngayon dito yung root apical meristem? You've seen this already in our in-class laboratory sessions. Okay? So this one, this layer here is the root apical meristem. This region is actively dividing and least specialized. Okay? So they are undifferentiated cells that are actively dividing. Some of the cells will differentiate later on. Okay? So kung ang shoot apical meristem, ang differentiation niya ay pababa, dito naman, ang differentiation ng inyong mga root apical meristem ay paakyat. So as you go up from the root apical meristem, the cells will become differentiated. Okay? In this region, it's more differentiated than this region. Okay? So from the root apical meristem, paakyat, yung direksyon ng differentiation. How about the addition of cells? Okay? For the cell division and cell growth, it's always downward. Okay? So, pababa yung direksyon ng pag-add ng cells. Okay? Ayan. So, bakit pababa? Okay? Kasi doon ang lupa, di ba? Kung paakyat yan, di palabas na siya ng lupa, no? So, kung saan ang lupa, doon ang direksyon niya. Okay? Ano naman tong layer na to na nasa baba palalo ng root apical meristem? Okay? This layer is called the root cap. Okay? Ano bang silbi ng root cap? No? Ang root cap, okay, siya yung dinudurog natin as the root apical meristem grows downward. Kasi may nadudurog na lupa, no? So imagine wala kang root cap, ano mangyayari sa root apical meristem mo? So siya yung madudurog, 'di ba? Kung siya'y madudurog at mawawalan ka ng ram, no, o yung root apical meristem mo, 'di ba? Tutubo pa ba ang root? Hindi na. So that's why there is a root cap kasi kailangan maprotektahan ang ram, no? Saan galing yung cells ng root cap? Okay? Galing lang din yan sa root apical meristem. So it constantly produces cells in the root cap as the root cap gets degraded by the soil. Okay? So continuous lagi yan, no, as the root goes downward. Again, in the roots, pababa ang addition of cells, pataas ang differentiation. Baligtad siya with the shoot apical meristem. Okay? So we're done with the apical meristems. And now, we proceed with the lateral meristems. No? The lateral meristems produce tissues that increase the girth of the roots and the stem. Okay? So kung ang apical meristem is para sa height o sa length ng halaman, ang lateral meristems ay para sa girth o dun sa lapad ng halaman. No, kung bakit tumataba o kumakapal ang isang puno ay dahil ito sa kanyang mga lateral meristems. No? The lateral meristems are only produced after the primary tissues have matured. Saan nanggaling yung primary tissues? Nanggaling yan sa protoderm, ground meristem at procambium na nanggaling pa kay apical meristem. Okay? So pag nag-mature lahat ng primary tissues, saka lang lilitaw itong vascular cambium at cork cambium na parehong lateral meristems. Okay? So para sa ng vascular cambium, no? Ang vascular cambium ay matatagpuan dito, no? So ano yung pinoproduce ng vascular cambium? Okay? So ang pinoproduce ng vascular cambium ay yung xylem at phloem. So yung xylem, mapoproduce siya paloob, habang ang phloem naman ay palabas, no? Palabas. Okay? Habang ang cork cambium naman ay para sa bark ng mga woody plants. No? Kung bakit nagkakaroon ng bark, okay, ang mga puno, kung bakit siya nagkakaroon ng brown sa kanyang panlabas na bahagi, ito ay dahil sa cork cambium. So palabas, nabubuo ang bark o yung cork. At papaloob naman, may nabubuo rin siyang mga cells. Okay? May nabubuo rin siyang mga uri ng cells. So in this case, ano nangyayari doon sa mga primary tissues? Okay? Yung mga primary tissues na nauna nang nabuo nung shoot apical meristem at nung mga primary meristems, madudurog sila nung mga bagong cells na gagawin ng lateral meristems. Okay? So for the vascular cambium, meron siyang magagawang xylem at phloem na papalit dun sa naunang xylem and phloem na nabuo na noon ng ating procambium. Okay? So this one, vascular cambium, will produce the secondary xylem and phloem. Okay? I-replace niya yung primary xylem and phloem na nagawa ng procambium na nanggaling kay SAM. Okay? Kay shoot apical meristem or kay root apical meristem. Habang ang cork cambium naman, no? Okay, nanggaling siya sa cortex usually. At ito naman yung magpapalitaw doon sa bark ng mga woody plants. Okay? So ito yung mga layers na yon. At para lang maging malinaw, no? Ito ang ating mga dalawang samples na pinakita sa atin during our in-class laboratory sessions, no, with the smartphone microscope. Okay? Ito yung umikot, sure ako umikot to sa lahat ng klase, but I'm not sure about this one, no? So this one on the right side is the mature stem in its cross section. So kumbaga may isa kang stem, hinati mo dito sa gitna. Yung view sa gitna na yon from the top, ito yon. Okay? Ito yung nakikita natin, no? So itong nasa kanan, ito yung mature stem. Ito yung immature, no? Yung wala pa noong vascular at cork cambium. Okay? This one, meron ng vascular and cork cambium. Kaya nahanapin natin sila, no? So, dito, okay, sa may layer na to, just above these white parts, okay? Just above these white parts, makikita dyan ang cork cambium. Yan yung magpaproduce dun sa cork na nasa taas, at yung mga iba't ibang cells pa na nasa ilalim. Okay? Yan yon, no? So, dyan matatagpuan, again, ang inyong cork cambium. Habang ang vascular cambium ay matatagpuan dito. Okay? So, itong part na to, bago itong mas madidilim na part sa taas, yung medyo lighter here, bago itong mga linya sa baba. No? So, for this one, okay, ito yung vascular cambium, ipaproduce niya yung phloem. secondary phloem sa taas at yung secondary xylem sa loob, no? Ire-replace niya yung mga naunang xylem na 'to, no, na nandito. Okay? So itong mga primary xylem mawawalan na sila ng silbi. Ano? Ayan, pati yung mga phloem na kasama nila usually mas nandito pa yung mga phloem, ano? So sa bandang dulo. Ngayon, nasaan 'tong mga 'to dito sa naunang version? Okay? Yung mga bilog-bilog dito, ayan, ito yung mga primary xylem na madudurog dito ngayon. Okay? Sino ang papalit sa kanila? Yung secondary xylem na mabubuo as xylem race dito galing sa inyong vascular cambium. Okay? Ang primary xylem at ang primary phloem ay nanggaling again kay procambium na nanggaling kay shoot or kay root apical meristem. Sila ay mare-replace ng secondary xylem and phloem again. Okay? Ayan. So, nasa na itong malaking part na sa gitna? No? Itong pith. Okay? Yung pith, ito na siya ngayon. No? Tingnan nyo, nadurog na siya ng bongga. Diba? Ayan na siya. Okay? Habang itong nasa gilid, nasa taas ng mga phloem at xylem na nandito sa layer na to, itong part na to, ito na siya ngayon. Okay? Ayan. At madudurog din yan eventually. Okay? Madudurog yan hanggang sa na-replace lahat ng secondary parts. Okay? So we call this a result of primary growth. Okay? Primary growth. And we call this one as a result of secondary growth. Okay? Secondary growth arises when the lateral meristems start producing their cells. Okay? Primary growth, result yan ng apical meristems and primary meristems. Pag nagkaroon na ng lateral meristems, nagsisimula na ang secondary growth ng halaman. Nagsisimula na siyang maging brown. Okay? Ayan. So, meron tayong isa pang meristem na kung tawagan ay intercalary meristem. These are found in grasses, okay? Sa family Poaceae. No, kasama ng mga grasses sa mga bamboo. No, I have a separate video to depict kung nasaan makikita ang mga intercalary meristems. Ano? So, they replace the vascular and cork cambium, no? And they develop at intervals along the stems where their tissues add to the stem length. Okay? Kagaya siya ng apical meristem na pinapahaba lalo yung halaman. So, in bamboo, no, or in grasses, kaya humahaba sila paakyat ay dahil sa kanyang intercalary meristems. No? Ito ay bukod pa sa kanilang apical meristems. No, apical meristems sa taas lang makikita, sa shoot tip lang makikita or sa root tip, no? But in the shoot, meron pang mga meristems sa pagitan, no, ng mga internodes, okay? Na kung saan, yun yung mag-extend dun sa haba ng halaman. At yun ang role ng mga intercalary meristems. Okay? So in summary, ito sila ngayon. We have the apical meristems. Okay? They increase the length of the plant just as your intercalary meristems. Ang pinagkaiba lang nila, your intercalary meristems are only found in the grass family, no? Family Poaceae. While apical meristems are found in every vascular plant. Okay? Every vascular plant. So, saan lang makikita yung apical meristem? Sa root and the shoot tips. Okay? Sa mga tuktok lang, no? O sa dulo nung sa ugat. Diba? And all apical meristems will give rise to the primary tissues. For lateral meristems, they are mostly found in woody plants. No? Kapag nagkakaroon na ng wood ang halaman, o kapag nagiging brown yung kilid ng halaman, no? Ibig sabihin may sign na yon na nag-undergo siya ng secondary growth. At yung secondary growth na yon ay malamang resulta ng mga lateral meristems. Okay, they increase the girth of the plant. Okay, so lumalapad at nagkakaroon siya ng increase sa kanyang trunk diameter. And they are found as layers in the stem and the roots. Okay, so bilang layers yan, meron kang cork cambium sa may bandang labas at nasa loob ang vascular cambium. And they will all give rise to your secondary tissues. Okay, so intercalary tissues, meristems, will give rise to the stem primary tissues. Walang intercalary meristem sa mga ugat na mga grass, no, ng bamboo. Okay? Ayan. So again, this is the summary of all the meristems we have discussed.